Hello and welcome. In this video, I'm going to talk about 5 features plus 4 key differences of Grafana and Prometheus with examples. So let's start. So Grafana, the first features of a Grafana, I can say it's a visualizations tools. Grafana is the primarily a visualizations tools for for creating a dashboard for graphs and displaying that in a matrix and data from that in a various data source. The data source, it may be the Prometheus, it may be the graphite and many more. And you can generate the such nice graph, and it will be really help it out for, let's say, memory and CPU utilizations. You want to see the memory, you want to see that in a Google hits and others, so it will be easy to display that in a data in and represent into that in a graphical format or the visualizations. The next features, Grafana offer a wide range of features for the data visualizations, including customizable dashboards, dynamic graphs, alert, and annotations. So you can also define the alert rules, which will be with help of a label and whatever you have. And the alert can be, sent to the Slack, email, or on call, or any other third-party tools where you can see that in a notifications of that in a Grafana. Alerting, you can configure it. The third one, which is we have a data source, like in Grafana can connect to the various data sources such as Prometheus, Graphite, InfluxDB, Elasticsearch, and many more. So we are going to do that in a demonstrations with help of a Prometheus. I have already installed that in a Grafana, and you can see here, I have just installed it and nothing is there at the moment, followed by the Prometheus. And we are going to demonstrate it one by one. This part I'll be do the demonstrations after completing it, so please watch my video until end. you know and if you like my video, please don't forget to like it, comment, and subscribe it. The next features, we have a user friendly interface. Grafana provides a you know user friendly interface for drag and drop functionality for designing and dashboard and visualizations. We are going to see it once we are going to add that in this dashboard, then I'll demonstrate that features as well. The next one, it's a Grafana have a huge community and plugin supports. Especially Grafana has a large and active community that develops plugins and extensions, allowing user to extend its functionality and integrate without the other tools. So these are that in a high level what is the Grafana. Then Prometheus. The Prometheus is also a monitoring and alerting tools. It's a monitoring and alerting tools. Prometheus is primarily monitoring and alerting tools for collecting, storing, and queuing the time series data. So you have to understand what is the time series data. In short, I can say over period of a time, if whatever data you are collecting, that is known as that in a time series data. If I'll go here, and you can see as of now I have started the Prometheus, and you can see uptime I want to see, and in terms of a graph. So you can see I started on that in a when 19th for 2024 at 1 o'clock 9:31, and as of now over period of a time you can see it's getting that in a data. The next one you can see, let's say I'll be do it for half an hour. So you can see before 13 minutes nothing was there, it's a zero. But now you can see these are that in a different request and response, their graph is getting increased. So these are the nothing but a time series data. It will be collect over that in a period of a time all data, and then we use to display in form of a graph. So The next one, Prometheus work on that in a pool-based model. So if you'll see that in architecture, this is that in a core of the Prometheus, and here we have a pool matrix, and then n number of job exporters which will run and pull that in a data to the Prometheus. Of course, like in alerting, we used to push it, prompt QL and all, but it's mainly work on the pool-based. Prometheus follow the pool-based models where the scrap matrix data from the instrumented target such as application server and containers at a regular interval. So interval we can set that in every 5 seconds, every 15 seconds, or milliseconds, or whatever you feel. On basis of the data you needed, you can configure it. The next one we have, it's a matrix collections. So Prometheus supports the multiple modes of matrix collections, including HTTP, DNS, SMTP, making a flexible monitoring various type of a system and services. Likewise, this one. Then lastly, we have a query language. So Prometheus query language, we used to say the prompt QL as well, allow user to perform a powerful queries and aggregations on the collected matrix data for analysis and visualizations purpose. So you can see here Prometheus HTTP request total code 200, which is the success one, handler is matrix, and it's getting that in a data for that. So these are the nothing but a key, and then we have a sample data as a value. Then lastly, Prometheus also support that in alerting rules. So Prometheus allow user to define the alert rules based on the matrix threshold, conditions, trigger alert and notifications when certain criteria are met. So these are the nothing but about Grafana and Prometheus. So let me do that in one quick demo before going to that in a comparisons. So here you can see my Prometheus is running on that in this and Grafana is running on 3000. I have already added that in a like in how to install Grafana and Prometheus in my other videos. I link into the descriptions. If you want, then you can go watch it. But I have started from here, so I'll just copy that in a local host 9090. I'll be go to the Grafana, and I have to set that we need to set that in a data source because we want to collect that in a data. So here you can see we have a connections and data source. Directly I choose it, and you can see here test is there, so we are not going to use that, and it is marked as that in a default. So what I can do, I can go and delete that in this one because I don't want to as a default. So we can add that in a data source, and you can see here Prometheus is there. Now the thing you have to remember here, you can see that in IP address and HTTP colon slash slash and localhost it is there if it is in same server, but make sure you are pasting that in your one. It is not a actual one. That is just a tooltip. All right. So after that, and you can see here all those data I'll be let it be as it is, and click on the save and test, and you can see here save and test is completed, and now we have a data source of a Prometheus. We can click on that in a dashboard, and here you can see Prometheus status. We can import it, or Grafana matrix. So I'll import this one, and I'll import this and this as well. So all three graph got imported. Now I'll be go to that in a home screen, and if I'll go to that in a dashboard, you can see there is a three like Grafana matrix, Prometheus and all, it is there. I'll select all three, and I'll say that in a use that in a new dashboard. Okay, so I'll click on the new dashboard, and here we have a add a visualizations, so the dashboard got added, and select a data source. So I'll select it, and now you can see the data is getting displayed, right? So here that in a data is displaying on basis of that in a whatever query it is there. You can expand it. You can see that in elaborating that in a query what kind of like in query it is there. So we can select that in other matrix and all as well. We can save it, or you can apply. So this is the one panel got added. Similarly, we can go to that in a connections and data source, and you can see here if I'll go, there is a another two dashboard is there, let's say Grafana matrix. So I'll be go to the Grafana matrix, and at the moment there is a no data for that in a Grafana, because just we have added it for the Prometheus one. Okay, so uh, this is that in a way you can generate that in a reports. Let's say here 3.90 minutes, and local host 9090, and it's no data, it's a target escaping, target durations, and all this data is displaying on basis of that. So again I'll be go to that in a differences, and then we'll talk on that in a other topic. So here you can see now the next we have a, what is the major difference we have in that in a Grafana and versus Prometheus. So the Grafana versus Prometheus, we have a use case. Let's say Grafana is the best suited for the visualizations and analyzing the matrix data, whereas Prometheus excels in the collecting, storing, and queuing time series data for monitoring and alerting purpose. Another one, Grafana can be integrated with a Prometheus as a data source, what we did, and visualize the metrics collected by the Prometheus, providing the seamless monitoring and visualization solutions. Then, in terms of a functionality, while Grafana focus on the visualizations and dashboarding, Prometheus is the more focus on the matrix collections, a storage, alerting, and powerful query language. In terms of a flexibility, Grafana is more flexible in terms of a data source, visualizations options, while Prometheus offer more advanced monitoring and alerting capability. So let's go and see here. If I'll go to that in a plugins, okay, you can see there is a n number of plugins is there, where we can go and see it. Let's say we have a Prometheus plugin, right? So if I just click on it and add to that in a data source, and it is saying that in a, okay, what is that in your URL, right? So we have already added that in this data source, so it is there, right? And if not, then you can go and add that in another data source. We can go in dashboard, we can create that in a new dashboard. You can directly add from the library panel, or you can import that in from dashboard as well. So if you can go into that in a library, nothing is there at the moment. Okay, same way you can also click on that in this library, and you can say WINDO Windows. Okay, and just if you search it, you know or in that in a dashboard, let's say you can say that in a new dashboard, and with help of a import a dashboard. So here we'll be get that in a import options, and let's say we'll say that in a GRAFANWINDOW Windows PLUGINS plugins. Okay, so you can see here in Grafana Windows plugins, we can go and copy that in a plugins ID. Okay, and then expected tables data and all, then Windows related data will be displayed. So you can see administrator plugins and plugin, browse it, plugins and data source panel already done, then plugins, and then install the plugins. The next one, it is saying Grafana plugins page, and you can go and import it directly. So here we have we are going to do that in a Grafana plugins page, and we'll try to import it from there only. Okay, so let me see here. You can see there is a number of we have. We'll type WINDOWS Windows, WINDOWS. Okay, node monitoring, NODE, node graph API, right? So we can also mention that, let's say Prometheus, PROMETHEUS. Okay, so you can see for Prometheus we have a Grafana, Grafana Enterprise, Prometheus Alert Manager, and then Prometheus. So if I'll click over here, then it is saying that in, hey, you have to go to that in this page, and or you can use that in. So I'll be go to that in a respective page again, and now we are in there in that in a that page. And if you want to use that in a YML format, you can use it, or with help of a Grafana matrix we can go and collect it. Okay, or base, and then you can see these are the supported versions, and then their respective value is there. All right, so here we have a like in, in terms of a YML format and all, you can use it if you want. Now I'm going to showcase what we are talking about that in a Prometheus, because it's a very query language. So just let's say I'm typing that in a up, okay, and then type that in a SQt. What it will be happening, you can see in table data it is saying of the instance we have a 9090, and for Prometheus the another instance is also configured for the Windows WMIE exporter, and but at the moment it is not working and website one. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to that in a Prometheus folder, and here we have a Windows exporter. As of now this is not started, so I'm going to start it, and you can see uh, as soon as this services is started, in Prometheus screens we are able to see at the moment this is that in a zero, because the services is not up and running. And now you can see once that services is up and running, as of now it's starting, and once it is started the data will be start collecting, you know and it is going to run on that in a 9182. Okay, so export 9182. So if I'll go here in that in a Prometheus page, and you can see 9182, and it will be take some time, whatever's interval is configured, or if there is any issue in that in a services. Is starting server 1 9182, so still it is starting, we need to wait for some time, you know still it is there in the zero because it's not started. Okay, so in between it says starting. Let's see that in other query. So if I'll go and I want to see the Prometheus or like in HTTP request, all right. So I'll just type the Prometheus HTTP request total and execute. You can see here graph is getting changing that in the line. You can feel that in a data as well. And in third one, let's say you want to see the CPU utilizations. So this is how the CPU utilizations is going on over period of a time, or I can say that in past 1 hour. So this is that in data for the 1 hour. We can reduce that in a 30 minutes and all, and then you can see that in the way the data is going. So what is happening here, we are collecting the data, right? Let's say if it is up and running now, So somehow there is a issue in that, or it's taking a longer time. No need to worry about that. So if you'll see here, there is only one service is up and running, which is the Prometheus one. Rest of that in data is zero. And same thing we have integrated with like Grafana as well, and we are able to see that in their matrix in that in a Grafana, and the data is displaying on basis of that in a what we have here. So likewise you can create that in your one dashboards, and you can showcase that in like let's say here it's saying the 43 minutes it is up, and this is that in a only one host is running. Local storage for memory series, if you want to edit it, you can see why we are not getting the data. So here we have a matrix, and then it is a this is that in a query it was mentioned. Okay, so this query is not giving that in a appropriate results. Let's say I'll change that in that query to that in a this SQL statement. Then what it will be happen, it will be go and start collecting that in a results. So I'll be go to that in a here, I don't know, so I just added that in a results. And if you'll say that in a run a query, I'll remove this one. So you can see there is a data is coming as a 5. I can do that in a save, and if I'll go to that in a dashboard now for Prometheus, instead of a no data in here, like as I expected, the data will become as a 5. I'm not sure why. Let's edit it one more time, right? So I'll just paste this one, and I'll apply it, refresh it. you know so likewise you can see it may be this query is getting overridden. Yeah, so whatever it is there, the template it is not getting changed. So that need to be look into that. Otherwise, we can go into that in a dashboard, and we can add that in additional panel. Let's say here we have a panel tab. So we can go in all the way down and or add button, and we can say that in a add row, and here that in a row got added. We can also say that in add a visualizations, and in add visualizations these panels, we can type that in our one query. So in that case, let's say this is there for Prometheus, and we can select that in a matrix export, and we can type that in a matrix what we are looking for. Let's say we'll say that in a up, or we can say http request, http request, and request total, right? And then we can select that in a label, and or you can say that in a run a query, and you can say that in a apply. Now we can see here we can also customize it. It's collecting the data from the Prometheus, and these are the different status code we have on basis of a different URL, and their data we are able to see it from that in top. you know uh, so this is the way this Prometheus and Grafana works. For more detail, you can go to the grafana.com or prometheus.io, or you have like in in that in my channel you can watch it like in Prometheus and Grafana, which is one of that in if I'll go and into showcase you like in here, that is a Grafana and Prometheus video is widely used. You can know how to install that in a Prometheus in Windows, followed by that in a Grafana. So what I can say that in lastly, please like, share, and comment it, and don't forget to subscribe my channel. Thanks for watching.